Hello, Dancing with the Stars fans. I am Daniel Montgomery with Gold Derby. I'm here with our contributor, Cordell Martin, and we are here to talk about the first of, but not last, announcement for Dancing with the Stars this season. We've got the pro dancers who were announced for season 25. First of all, let me name them. We've got Livesey Arnold, Mark Ballas, Alan Burston, Sharna Burgess, Whitney Carson, Artemchik Menzel, Val Chmerkovsky, Maxim Chmerkovsky, Kio Motsepe, Peter Murgatroyd, Gleb Savchenko, and Emma Slater. Now that was the 12 who were announced on Good Morning America when they said they were just going to announce all the pro dancers. But of course, that's not all of them. It was Cordell.
Exactly. We heard from Entertainment Tonight that it looks like Cheryl Burke will be joining the cast. She's a two-time Mirrorball champion. She won with Drew Lachey and Emmett Smith. So it's nice to see her as well as Mark come back after a season or two absence, I believe. I think they both were on season, what was it, 23, I believe?
She was in 23. He was actually last on in 22. So he hasn't been on since spring 2016. So it's been more than a year for him. But it's just been barely a year for Cheryl. I don't know why they didn't just announce her with the rest of them.
I don't know. Yeah.
and I was noticing when they announced the pro dancers, I was going down the list because I was comparing it to last year. So I was like, okay, we have two new male dancers who weren't in last season. Mark Ballas came back, and Alan Burston, this is his first time as a pro. And so that meant there were two pro dancers who didn't come back, but it was Sasha Farber and Kim Johnson Herjavec. And so that was a man and a woman. So you got two men comprising a man and a woman. So I counted them up. So we had 7 men and 5 women, which they never do that much of a gender imbalance. So I thought that was a little fishy. I was wondering what was up with that. Part of me in the back of my head thought, oh, they're going to do the same ratio of male and female celebrities, but one of the male celebrities will be paired with a male dancer. No, turns out no. It turns out they were just late in announcing the third or the 6th female celebrity. So there's an odd number of pros, which means an odd number of celeb contestants, presumably, unless they have to share them this season. And so it's an uneven number of dancers. So it's as close to even as you can get: 7 men, 6 women. So what stood out to you the most first?
I would say that in terms of the pros returning, a lot of them are former champions. Based on this list, I believe we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 7 former champions, and several of them as well as finalists. It would be interesting to see if Artem and Kio, if they can finally have that chance in the finals and go for the Mirrorball trophy, as well as Alan. You know, Max and Val have really been pushing this kid for the past 2 seasons, and now this is a big shot. So we will see if casting is nice to him his first go around with a ringer or someone with some kind of dance skill, or will they go the Tony route and give him an older, mature contestant?
I have a feeling they're going to give him a ringer. If not a ringer, then someone who they can at least predict, someone athletic, young, who, if doesn't have a dance background, then has at least, a rhythmic background. They can hang, someone who, and that's what I always judge in the first week of the competition, is not who I think is going to win, who I think is going to lose, but just you can tell on the dance floor who is just not a dancer at all and will never be, and other people who can hang. And that's what I look at. It's like, I don't know if you're going to win, but you can dance well enough that you're going to make it for a bit, potentially. And so we've seen in seasons past that poor Kio Motsepe competed as a pro like 4 or 5 times now. He's only made it past the 2nd week once, and that was with Jodie Sweetin. I think they made it to 6th place or something, which was incredible for him. We got to see more of him than ever before that season. And so, and you have also Artemchik Menzel, who has not been quite as unlucky. Like, he hasn't been eliminated first or second every time, but he's struggled in terms of, you know, who he gets as his pro. They just don't have as much going for them in terms of their dance potential and their athletic potential. I remember he was so excited last season. It's like, Nancy Kerrigan, I got an Olympian. You would hear him cheering that he got an Olympian because finally he had someone who could hang. And they did stick around for a while. So I am definitely hoping that both of those, they save someone good for both of them, if not necessarily the winner, someone who could get them to the finals.
I know, I hope so too. But just looking at the pro list, do you think certain pros have an advantage in terms of just their built-in fan base and being able to carry their celebrity a lot further than other pros?
Certainly, Mark Ballas. And he's been gone for the last 2 seasons. It's been more than a year since we've seen him. They are not going to give him the older, you know, out of shape contestant who's going to be gone in a week or two. They're going to give him someone who can last. And so, which is a little unfair to some of these other people. Maybe I'll be proven wrong, and he'll get he'll have to make lemons out of lemonade. But I have a feeling they're going to be relatively kind to him. You know, it's been a while since he's been on. Derek Hough is not here this season, so he's their biggest star among the pros. He's only won the Mirrorball Trophy twice. Derek Hough won it 6 times. So, you know, they really might be wanting to you know, grease the wheels a bit to get him towards the finals.
Yeah, definitely Mark. And then Val has had a great track record as of late. He started off a little rocky with contestants like Sherry Shepherd and Elizabetta Canales. But as of recent with Lori Hernandez, Normani Corday, Janelle Parrish, just to name a few, he's really been that pro that if you want to make it far, you need to be paired with Val.
Yeah, and he has done remarkably well. As you said, he's had a sort of hit and miss run earlier on his career. But I open up his Wikipedia page, and they have all the charts for all the pros, and you can just see the first 6 seasons were hit and miss, but his last 7 have been explosive. He has made the finals in the last 7 seasons every time except once, and that was Tamar Braxton, which has a little asterisk next to it because she had to withdraw. So she was ill and she couldn't continue. So for all we know, she absolutely could have made it to the finals. She certainly had the dance skills. He has made it to the finals every season other than that for the last 7, and he has won twice. So yeah, I wouldn't rule him out either. Now for him, it's time that he got one of the lesser celebs who maybe isn't as athletic or as young or as dance inclined. It's his turn. Even Derek Hough got Marilu Henner at one point, so it's not like you're not owed the great dancers every time.
That is true. That is true. I think it is his time, and to your point, I think it's nice to see other pros get their shot at the Mirrorball Trophy, because after a while it gets a little stale when it's the same 4 or 5 pros. Another pro that I'm really rooting for her to have her moment finally is Livesey Arnold. She's been one of those pros that has really made the impossible happen for people like David Ross. She also had a great partnership with Calvin Johnson and Wanye, who should have been in the finals, but that's a whole nother discussion.
Won, and that's one of her worst performances in terms of placements on the show was with the best dancer she's ever gotten.
Exactly. But I feel like it's her turn to get a contender and really win the Mirrorball Trophy. I don't know yet. I feel like they're going to wait a few more seasons for her to kind of continue to prove herself. And plus, there's more favoritism towards like the Pitas and the Cheryls and Sharnas, in terms of them getting the more talented male celebrities?
I don't know. I think, I mean, for everyone who they make sit around and prove themselves with a bunch of not quite dance-worthy contestants, then you get like a Whitney Carson who's competing this season. She had one season that she didn't, I can't remember who she was paired with her first season, but her second season, that was Alfonso Ribeiro. She won the Mirrorball Trophy. She got an Emmy nomination for one of their dances. So, every once in a while they will give it to you right out the gate.
That's true. That's true.
And Livesey Arnold has certainly proven herself more than enough. She got Alex Scarlatos to the finals, although the American Hero thing really helped a lot with that. He could have sat down on every dance move and still made it to the finals potentially. But David Ross especially, if she could get second place for David Ross, then give her anyone with an iota of the dance skill and the charisma, and
oh yeah,
have that mirror ball locked up.
Oh yeah, definitely. Out of the list, who is your favorite male pro and female pro?
Out of the list, my favorite male pro. I have a soft spot for Artem. I root for him every single season, and a couple times he's gotten a really good celeb. Nancy Kerrigan last season, and I think his first or one of his first seasons, Leah Thompson, who had some stage dance training in her past. So, and he made it, midway through the competition with one of them. But I want them to give him like a Normani kind of contender, or not necessarily a Heather Morris, because Heather Morris was so much a ringer that they knocked her out really fast. So it needs to be someone who is skilled enough that we know it'll take him far, but not so. It can't be someone who just came off of So You Think You Can Dance last year.
Yeah.
Or else people will revolt. And of the women, I gotta say, I don't have a strong favorite among this group. I've always liked Sharna. I've always liked Peta, but I think I'm with you. I'm they've both had their moments in the sun. I'd like to see, or has Sharna won actually?
Sharna hasn't won.
No. Oh, she hasn't won. Okay, then I take it back. I'm rooting for Sharna to win then, because she is due even more than Livesey is.
Yeah, she's been the runner-up a couple times with Nick Carter and James Hinchcliffe as well.
So are there any pros that you wish were here that weren't?
Ooh, that's a good question. Let's see. For the males, I always have a soft spot for Derek, although people get sick of him winning all the time. I think he's just an amazing choreographer. I'm always looking forward to what he pulls out in terms of just routines, and I think he's great at teaching his celebrities and believing that they are the best dancer that they can be. He's worked with different age groups, different body types, different fan bases, and he's been able to just make each and every one of his partnerships shine. And I also love that he's always invested in each of his partnerships. Certain pros, like Max, sorry to call him out, you can see sometimes they are either engaged or they check out real fast. And Max has a tendency to do that. If it's someone he really likes and he's like, okay, I can win this, like Meryl Davis or Mel B.
He was all in with Meryl Davis.
Exactly. And then if it's someone like Denise Richards, he's just kind of like, okay, we'll just get through the first couple weeks and then we'll keep it moving. So yeah, definitely Derek would be nice to see, but obviously he's moving on to bigger and better things. He'll definitely probably come back to choreograph one of the group routines or two. For the female pros, let's see. I would actually like for them to get one of the girls from the troupe. I think Britt would be great. They haven't had a African American female pro on the show. I think that would be cool just to have her moments and see what she can do, as well as just from a diversity standpoint, just showing that people of different backgrounds can learn and be trained in ballroom and other dance styles. So I think that'd be great just to see her or a fresh face in the mix.
Yeah, I agree on the whole diversity angle. It's interesting because they are so good at diverse casting with the celebrities themselves that I almost don't notice until I didn't even think about it until it was recently pointed out to me. It's like, are there how many people of color are there among the pros? And you've got Keo and you've got Cheryl Burke, and that's it. At least lately, I can't remember years past if there have been any more, but maybe that's one of those reasons they keep bringing Keo on, even though he hasn't had success, is because they realize this is a very white lineup of pro dancers. In which case, I would say that okay, if he's going to be your token, then at least give him a dancer every once in a while, so he's not eliminated first.
That is so true, and I mean, hopefully he does have a contender. I'm really curious as to who are the celebrities. Normally around this time, we pretty much get the whole cast leaked, but we've only know of 2 so far that are rumored to be on the show.
Yeah, and so let's talk about those 2 briefly, since we already know who they are. There's Drew Scott, one half of the Property Brothers, with his twin brother Jonathan Scott, who, as far as we know, is not competing alongside him. And then you have another half of the twin set, Nikki Bella from the WWE, World Wrestling Entertainment. They're both interesting. We don't really have anything to go on in terms of precedent for like a TV realtor. So who knows? It could be sink or swim. You're not going to know. That first week will tell us a lot with him. And Nikki Bella, interesting too. She's an athlete. She's young. She's in shape. So she's the kind of person who you'd think would be well suited to this, but we don't know how well. I mean, Stacy Keibler did very well when she competed on Dancing with the Stars, but she had more of a dance background besides wrestling. Chris Jericho didn't do that well. So, it's interesting to see. She has at least the athletic background and the live entertainment background that she could potentially do it. It just depends on whether she has the rhythm. And so that'll be a big key. But if she has the rhythm, she could put it all together.
Yeah, that is so true. And I think, she'll definitely have the fan base because the WWE, they're a pretty loyal fan base, at least in terms for Stacy Keibler, unlike Chris Jericho. But to your point, if she can dance, she has a fan base. She's engaged to John Cena, who's extremely popular amongst the WWE community, that she can at least make it the halfway point. I can definitely see her being paired with Max or Val, more likely Max. And that partnership can definitely go far because Max loves when he has a star that can give it back to him, like Christy Alley, like Mel B. He loves that banter. So, and then she definitely is the type that's not going to be a pushover and crying rehearsals when Max yells at her.
Oh yeah, she would. She could probably give as good as she gets, certainly. And certainly if her pro partner makes her mad, she could just have John Cena beat them up. So.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But it's interesting. I actually think that in terms of fan bases, I think Drew Scott might have a slight advantage, just in the sense that I don't know if the WWE and Dancing with the Stars will have much overlap in fan base. Like how many of her fans from one will watch her in the other? But I feel like there's probably more overlap in that Venn diagram of Property Brothers fans and Dancing with the Stars fans. So I definitely think Drew Scott will survive at least the first 2 weeks, even if he can't put 2 feet in front of the other. He'll survive a couple of weeks on the strength of he's charismatic and he's good looking and he's young enough to not injure himself
Exactly.
First night out. So I think they'll both stick around, if not forever. Then, regardless of how they dance, I think we'll see them both for a little while.
Yeah. And who do you think out of the female pros will be paired with Scott?
Interesting. You brought this up a little earlier when we were chatting online, and I think you mentioned he might go with a Sharna or Peta, and that sounded pretty logical to me. I mean, Peta just had a Nick Viall from The Bachelor, the reality star, and fits a similar profile, though certainly not the same thing as The Bachelor at all. But I can see Peta or Sharna having a good rapport with him. He comes off on the show as this very lighthearted, goofy persona sometimes, and so I feel like it might be one of those charm offensive kind of things, like a David Ross, potentially.
Exactly. And those pros, along with Cheryl, they're really good at dancing around their stars, especially the less talented ones.
Cheryl especially.
Oh yeah. So we'll know for sure if he gets Cheryl. We might be like, okay, he might not be the best dancer, but Cheryl's gonna work her magic, and he can last a few weeks.
We'll see, because last time we saw Cheryl, she was with Ryan Lochte, and so she was able to just say, okay, here are his abs, and I will just dance around them. I don't Drew Scott doesn't have a lot of shirtless scenes on Property Brothers, so who knows? But we'll see. That might be one of the first things the pro checks. It's like, okay, can we get you shirtless for like a really intimate contemporary dance or something like that? Because that's going to get you the votes.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure he already met his pro by now, and she's probably told him, look, you need to get in the gym. Number 18, pull your weight, and you'll be golden. So I'm pretty sure they're having that conversation now, or pretty soon, once he knows who his pro is.
Or if they haven't had this conversation, they will obviously be listening to this, and that they will know that you need to get those abs on point before the show starts, and you have until September 18th. So this is a notice to any other celebs who I'm sure the celebs already know who they are. We just don't know who the rest of them are. So this goes out to all of you. Your abs need to be on point, and then you'll do fine. And that's, of course, the only principle of Dancing with the Stars that you need to think about. So with that, I think that's good to call it a discussion on these pro dancers and the two pros the two celebrities that we already know. Of course, you and I can reconvene after we get the full list of celebrity dancers, or periodically if we keep getting them bit by bit, like they keep trickling out, and before the big reveal, they'll have revealed like 11 out of the 13 or something. Well, we'll see what happens there, and I look forward to chatting more with you about Dancing with the Stars over the course of the season.
Likewise.